Broadcasting from the Cannon Motor Studio on Central Avenue in downtown Laurel, Mississippi. This is Good Morning Pine Belt with host Ben Winpigler on Super Talk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. We are back on a beautiful Tuesday morning here. We're live from the Cannon Motor Studio in beautiful, historic downtown Laurel, Mississippi. Here in the middle of September. Beautiful morning here. Don't worry, it'll be 95 degrees before the show is over, so you can get your sweat on here for the rest of the day. Before we bring in our first guest, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by Dixie Electric Power Association, a member-owned electric co-op that offers broadband internet. Check out DE Fastlink today. I promise you it will be better than any internet you may ever have. So go check them out today. If you are a Dixie Electric member, if you don't have DE Fastlink yet, I really don't know what you're waiting on. I don't know why you don't have it. Go get it because it's better than what you have, I promise. All right, joining us now, as they do every month from South Central Regional Medical Center, just up the road here from the studio, we are talking with Dr. Ramsi Dykes Blankenship. She is from the big city, the big city of Hot Coffee, Mississippi. Dr. Blankenship, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. All right, so let's jump right in. Obviously, you're not too far from Laurel, big city of hot coffee. What's it like growing up in a metropolis like Hot Coffee?
Very quiet, but I enjoyed it a lot. So I grew up on a farm. My dad does chicken houses for Sanderson Farms,
okay.
And then does a little bit of cattle on the side.
Yeah.
But I'm very familiar.
Hard-working man.
Exactly. So really enjoyed that. Loved living out in the country, lots of fishing, lots of hunting, things like that. But I was pretty familiar with Laurel and the Ellisville area. While I was growing up, my mom taught at Jones Junior College.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
I was pretty familiar there, and then she also worked at South Central before she started teaching. So
you're right at home.
Exactly.
Right at home. So look, growing up in a small town, what got your interest in medicine?
So originally, it has nothing to do with living in a small town, but I really liked crime shows.
Okay.
Investigations, things like that. I thought I was going to do forensic science. It was going to be great. And then I just liked the puzzles, the mysteries, things like that. And then I actually started working at the South Central Emergency Room.
Okay, yes.
And got interested in the medical field and decided, well, it was pretty similar. You know, it was different diseases, different mysteries.
Yeah, still a puzzle.
A little bit of a puzzle, and I got to meet and talk to and get to know my patients and felt like that was a good mix.
There you go. All right, so I'm looking here at your bio. You did, you got your medical degree from Auburn University. So you're a Tiger.
I am. War Eagle.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. All right, we might have to cut this short. And then you did your residency in Kentucky. So you've been around, and I think you also said you did some time in Cincinnati as well.
Yes. So in undergrad, I went to William Carey, so I stayed very local.
Okay, there you go.
Played softball there, and then decided I just wanted a little bit of change of scenery. So went to medical school at Auburn. Loved that as well. And then me and my husband, who's from Hattiesburg, decided to move to North Kentucky for residency.
Okay.
And so we were basically on the border of North Kentucky and Cincinnati. So I kind of floated in between some Kentucky hospitals and then also the University of Cincinnati.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I forget how close that it actually does border right there, that Cincinnati's right there on the border. All right. So now you are back in Laurel, and you are a new physician here at the Family Medicine Clinic, which is just right there on Jefferson Street. So when did you actually start?
I started about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
But I actually signed probably about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Me and my husband, although we loved being up at close to Cincinnati and northern Kentucky, like I said, we're both local, and so we just wanted to move back close to family,
right.
In order to raise our own, and just kind of get back plugged in the community.
Absolutely. So you've been here working full time now about 3 weeks at the Family Medicine Clinic. What has, and I know you said you worked in the ER here for a little while, but what has been different about A, working back at close to home, and B, working at a place like South Central?
I think the biggest difference is just the community feel.
Yeah.
When you come back home to a little bit of a smaller area, I feel like there's more time you can take with your patients. There are people that know my family or my husband's family,
Yeah.
and so there's a little bit of just some like local home connections that you don't really get in big areas, which I really like.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of that, one thing that I know that is very important, especially in a smaller, I know we're in the middle of the city, but Mississippi as a whole is a rural area, in rural healthcare, is finding a consistent family physician. No matter what age you are, it's important to have that. So for a little bit, talk about why maybe that's the case. Why is it important to, instead of just jumping around, I'll just go to the urgent care when I need something. I don't need it. No, nobody really goes for a yearly checkup kind of thing unless you just need medicine refill. But that's not the case, or it doesn't need to be the case.
No, you're exactly right. So how I like to explain it to my patients is primary care physicians we are here for the marathon of life. So I get a lot of questions like, hey, doc, really, why do I need to come for a yearly checkup? I'm overall healthy. I have no medicines that I need refilled or anything like that. And my answer to that question is, when you're in your 20s, 30s, even 40s, you may not need me.
Right.
You may come see me once a year. We talk about things like preventative care, diet, exercise, how to prevent the things like blood pressure issues or diabetes.
Yeah.
That is the point of kind of that era of our lives.
Yeah.
But eventually we get older, things start to break. We get new diagnosis of high blood pressure, diabetes, and then you need me a little bit more.
Right.
But at that point, like, we have established a good relationship where you trust me when things start to become a little bit more difficult with your health.
Yeah.
I see a lot of patients who will not particularly see a family physician all the time, and then they end up in the emergency room with a heart attack or a stroke. And then whenever they're discharged from there, they go from overall being relatively healthy, and then they come out on 4 or 5 medications, and the first thing that they ask you is, who's your primary care provider? And you're like, well, I don't have one. And so I think it's good to at least have a relationship. Like I said, you may not see me all the time, and you may not need me in the beginning. But whenever you have life-changing events like that, I feel like it's nice to have somebody that you can immediately say.
They know my history.
They know my history. They know all about me. They know about my family. I feel comfortable with them.
Right.
Instead of trying to search and basically trust a stranger with a very dramatic episode in your health.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And you make a good point there, because, you may not need you right now, but if you consistently go, like you said, you may have something that if you had, if somebody who had a heart attack, let's just say that 2-3 years ago, they would have gone to their primary care physician. Hey, we noticed your blood pressure, or this is starting to go up a little bit. I know it's not ideal, but let's get you on something to maybe tone things down. And that's really where a primary care physician, that's where y'all come in, like, bang, right there.
Exactly. And that's why we really do like to see people early, because not only are we there for those acute events in life, heart attacks and strokes, but we want to be there early to try to prevent those things from happening.
Right.
Our goal is to keep you as healthy as possible so that you can live as long as possible in the way that you want to.
Absolutely. And then let's go back to, you are getting people who are getting maybe a little older, men in their 40s, things of that nature. Screenings. How important are screenings? Even if you don't think you need them, even if you're healthy, whether it be cancer screenings, this kind of whatever. How important are those?
I think screenings are very important because, like I said previously, especially when we're kind of in that 30s, 40s, 50 age, it's all about preventative care. So a lot of our screenings, they have certain age requirements when you start, but if you have certain family history,
Yeah.
they can possibly start early.
Yeah.
And that's just because we want to keep an extra eye on
Yeah.
you. Our screenings have gotten significantly better, and I've caught several, diagnoses of lung cancer and colon cancer and things like that with really patients that were overall healthy and didn't really have any signs and symptoms. But that's the benefit of screening, is that you catch it early. So you have multiple options as far as treatment, and you're not catching it too late.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you catch it late, your options are very thin, and things start to get pretty rocky. All right. Well, Dr. Blankenship, obviously you're there now. You've been in the practice. You are accepting new patients now, correct?
Correct. So I'm accepting new patients. I see anywhere from pediatric to geriatric. So typically I kind of start seeing patients around 10 years old until 80 or 90.
There you go. Well, Dr. Blankenship, we are excited to have you here in Laurel, back around town, back close to home and hot coffee. So we're excited to have you here. If you're interested in going to talking to Dr. Blankenship or anybody at the Family Medicine Clinic, you can go check them out. They're right there on Jefferson Street in Laurel, or you can just go to the South Central's website and go check them out. But Dr. Blankenship, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking with an event coming up this weekend in Waynesboro. So stick around. Good morning, Pine Belt. We'll be right back from the Cannon Motor Studio.
You're tuned in to Good Morning Pine Belt on Super Talk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. We are back. Thank you for tuning in wherever you may be, whether it be on 99.3, on Alexa, on I can't say Alexa too loud. I don't know anybody's thing to go off, or just online or on the app, wherever you may be joining us this morning. Thank you for listening to Super Talk. Thank you for listening to this program. We hope that it is keeping you informed of all things happening in the Pine Belt and beyond. Before we bring in our next guest, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by Bank First. Bank First. Don't forget, they have now, it's almost official. It'll be the name change and everything here in about a few weeks, merged with Magnolia State Bank, but they are all still the same people, same hometown service you know and trust. Go check out Bank First today. Now they have several locations, Magnolia State Bank and Bank First, now one big happy family, so we're excited to continue our partnership with them. All right, joining us now from the town of Waynesboro, where I actually was just yesterday, is Miss Emily Cooley. She is with the Fellowship at the Fields event coming up in Waynesboro this Saturday. Miss Emily, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's jump right in. I'm sitting here looking at this the event on Facebook, and it looks like an exciting event with some really awesome acts that will be coming up, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But first of all, I'm excited because, I'm not from Waynesboro. I'm very familiar with Waynesboro, but this is a big event for a small town like Waynesboro.
Yes, we are super excited. It has grown every year. This will actually be our 6th year.
Wow.
To have Fellowship at the Fields, and just every year has gotten bigger. And we look forward to the community coming out and supporting us.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm looking at the flyer, and obviously it's Fellowship out the Fields. But at the top it says Lion Fest. Tell us a little bit about what that is. Lion
Fest is actually the name of our group, our committee that puts the Fellowship at the Fields event on. This committee was created with the intent to just have an event. We're all volunteers. It's a nonprofit group. Any money that we raise is just put back into the next year's event. But we are totally just committed to making this event just a Christian, a good evening in Waynesboro for family oriented, just a good time out, just to come out and worship, a night of worship, and just bringing us all together.
Absolutely. That's I'm really excited. All right, so let's talk about the event itself. First of all, for people who are not familiar, where are the fields in Waynesboro?
The fields are actually located off of Azalea Drive, behind the Mikasita in Waynesboro.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah,
soccer field
was in
back
that
there,
parking lot
and
yesterday.
we clear those out, and it's just a big open space that works perfect for this event.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, it's just right there out of the main portion of town. So
yes, right past our Walmart, right behind Mikasita's.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about the actual event. I'm looking here at the people who y'all have performing, and y'all swung for the fences there, and you hit it. I mean, my goodness, Sanctus Real is just. I mean, that's my childhood growing up there listening to Sanctus Real.
Oh, awesome. Well, we are looking forward to them. We will start the night with Stephen McWhirter. He is going to be our opening worship, and then he will speak. He has a great testimony that he wants to speak on, and then we'll have a short break, and then Sanctus Real will be our headliner.
Okay, so this will be it's in Sanctus Real. I've seen them. I believe I've seen them at least once in concert, and they are an awesome performance. But they've been around for a long time, so anybody listening is probably familiar with the name. All right, so the event also too. It's going to be outside, so there's not going to be big chairs and big seats set up. You're going to have to bring your own chair and everything, right?
Yes, everybody bring your own chair. We have a limited number of bleachers, just a few left from the soccer games, but not many, so we definitely encourage everybody to bring a chair, and hopefully the sun will start going down. The event on stage starts at 6.
Okay.
And we'll probably end around 9. But before that, we have a cornhole tournament.
Oh,
so
yeah,
if you like to play cornhole and come out for that, registration for that starts at 2:30, and then the actual tournament will be from 3 to 5:30.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. So and this is the second time y'all have done the cornhole.
Yes, we did this last year. We've kind of did a variety of things over the years. We started out with a car show, and we did that for a couple years, and then we moved into the cornhole tournament last year, and it was really successful, so we thought we would try that again.
Awesome. Now, this is not, I'm sure, a cornhole tournament for those professionals who have the bags that stick on either side. This is for anybody who wants to play cornhole, right?
Yes, this is for anybody, yes.
Okay,
for sure.
Because I got into a cornhole tournament one time and didn't realize that I was playing. I didn't know there were cornhole professionals until I got whooped in the tournament.
Oh, wow. Well, no, this is definitely open to any and everybody.
There you go. And all right, so let's talk the event that day. Obviously, you're playing cornhole. It starts at 3 into 5:30. And the actual event itself starts at 6, but you want to get there early because you want to get a good spot. So that's right around dinner time. So the question on everybody's mind is food.
There are lots of food vendors. I would say we're going to have at least 10 to 12 food vendors, and just offering a variety of different things. We have all sorts of, from funnel cakes to pulled pork to just you name it, fried food, anything you want, we will have that afternoon. Our vendors are excited about being able to serve everybody.
That's awesome. Now, are people able to bring in I know they bring in chairs, coolers, drinks, anything like that? Or?
We ask for no large coolers or just to be able to so that everybody, our vendors, can get plenty of support.
Right, absolutely. And no alcohol or anything at this
Yes,
event.
correct, no alcohol.
There you go. No pets either, right?
No, we don't. The Fields does not allow pets,
okay.
So we adhere to their rules.
All right, so and another question, and this is starting to be a big thing at all events,
sure.
Clear bags.
No, we just ask for no large backpacks, but we don't have a clear bag policy.
Okay, good to know. So no clear bag policy. Just don't bring in some one of those giant rucksacks or anything like that, full of food and everything.
And we will have security on site.
Okay,
that's just something that we have to have now. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's important.
It
help people feel secure and safe and everything. So, all right. So, really, the most important thing too are tickets. So, I'm sitting here looking at it. You can buy tickets in advance. Where all can people buy tickets in advance?
Currently, right now, the tickets are $10, and you can get those here in Waynesboro at Athletic Locker and Ladybug Florist. But you can also go on itickets.com and buy them online if you're not local.
Okay.
We will have them on the day of the event. You can buy them at the gate, but they are $15. So if you want to save a little money, go online or stop by and buy a ticket locally.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you're bringing a family, $5 a ticket definitely adds up.
Well, yes, and one thing to note, all kids 10 and under get in free with a paying adult.
There you go.
So those kids can come on in for no charge.
I like to hear that. I got 2 under 5, so that's perfect. That's perfect. All right, so excuse me. All right, so kids get in free with a paying adult. You can buy your tickets in advance. Don't wait till the day of the show and get your ticket. I mean, if you have to, you can, but it's better to buy in advance because they'll probably be on line and you won't get the seat that you want. So, all right, so is there anything else that we missed about the show? We got about a minute or so left here. Is there anything big that you want to hit on that we missed? Or
I'm trying to think. We're looking forward to everybody coming. It is rain or shine, but so far the forecast is looking good for us. We haven't had a lot of rain lately, so fortunately for our event, that's a good thing. So, but we will be out there and just looking forward to everybody coming.
So
we will have a, and this isn't on the actual flyer, but we have when you come in the gate, you receive a ticket, and after Stephen McWhirter, before Sanctus Real, we have a short break there, and we will do a drawing.
Hey.
And you can win $200 cash, but you must be present.
Come on. Hey, there you go. Breaking there is always breaking news on Good Morning Pine Belt, and that's it. You can go and be there, because if you want to win the $200, you have to be there.
You have to be there. That's
because
right.
I have seen the unfortunate things where you have to be there and somebody's name gets pulled and it's some fabulous prize and they're not there.
Right.
So if your name gets pulled and you win the $200 and you're not there, all your friends are going to make fun of you because you were not there and won the $200.
Right.
All right. Well, excuse me, Emily, we really appreciate you coming on. This seems like an exciting event, a great night of worship right there in Waynesboro. Great people, great talent coming in, great bands. But really, the goal of the whole thing is for people to hear the word and to hear the gospel. And
exactly.
We're excited for y'all doing that in Waynesboro. All right, remind people as we leave the time, the date, the location, and how they can get tickets.
Gotcha. It is Fellowship at the Fields this Saturday, September 20th. Gates open at 3, but the event on main stage is at 6, and you can buy advance tickets for $10 at Athletic Locker or Ladybug Florist in Waynesboro or on itickets.com, and they will be available on the day of the show at the gate for $15.
There you go. She's Emily Cooley with the Fields of Faith Festival coming up this Saturday. Go check it out there in Waynesboro. Really appreciate you coming on, Miss Emily.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking with Miss Collyn Leggett from the Jones County EDA. So stick around. Good Morning Pine Belt. We'll be right back from the Cannon Motor Studio.
We're back to Good Morning Pine Belt. Super Talk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good Morning Pine Belt. We are back live here from the Cannon Motor Studio in beautiful, historic downtown Laurel, Mississippi. Lots of things happening during the fall here. We're going to talk about those in just a minute. Before I bring in our next guest, I do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by our Community Bank. Local bankers, local decisions, and plenty of convenient locations. So go check out Community Bank today. Like I said, there is this time of year, there's always something happening in the fall, whether it be high school football, which we'll talk about in a little bit with our good buddy Uncle Marcus, events happening as we get into downtown, school starting back, everything, the event that's happening in Waynesboro, there's always something going on. And one of the things going on, and it's not for everybody, it is just for high school seniors, but they are obviously very important to what's happening here in Jones County, is the Jones County Career Kick Off Your Career event. That's happening tomorrow. And coming in to talk about it is an old friend of mine, Miss Collyn Leggett. Collyn Leggett. I didn't say Bassett this time, even though I wanted to.
It's all good.
Thanks for coming on this morning, Collyn.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so before we kind of get started and talk about the event, and I know we do this a lot of times when you come on, but for people who are listening who are not familiar with what, obviously people know what the Jones County EDA is. They're familiar with that. They're familiar with the Chamber of Commerce, but one of the big parts of the EDA that just started within 4 or 5 years ago, is the career coaches. And I know you're one of those, and I think there's 2 more. Mm-hmm. Tell people what that is.
Yes, so the Career Coach program, it started in 2022 from Accelerate Mississippi, which is our state's Office of Workforce Development. And the EDA applied for a grant from Accelerate to employ career coaches in our area. And so this is our 4th year in the schools, and we now have 4 career coaches, so 1 for each public school.
Okay.
And so really our main job is just to use the industry connections with the EDA to help connect students to different industry representatives and make sure that students have a career pathway ready and prepared by the time that they graduate, and really just kind of fortifying some of those workforce resources in the school, kind of collaborating with different community members, school education representatives, helping making sure that those students are set up for success.
Yeah, and I know one thing that you've mentioned several times when you've been on here is you're really getting to know these kids, because a lot of times, especially when we were in school and even years before, it was, you got to go to college, you got to go to college, you got to do this, you got to do that. You got to have doctors and lawyers, but you obviously need doctors and lawyers and engineers, but
you also need
plumbers.
Folk. You
need plumbers and you need carpenters, but so, and that's what y'all focus on, is making sure that people are where they're supposed to be.
Right. We definitely focus on our target industries in the state of Mississippi, and so a lot of that is, of course, agriculture, advanced manufacturing, energy, information technology. There's kind of some different targets that we have, but especially in Jones County, we have a very large manufacturing footprint. So we do focus a lot on different trade opportunities and different ways to kind of get your foot in the door in some of those industries.
Yeah. And like you said, with the connections that the EDA has, y'all are able to give these kids real world experience, right?
Right. Yeah. The idea is to get them connected to somebody, especially if they want to do a job shadow, to kind of get boots on the ground and be able to observe and get a better idea of what they're, going to see in a day-to-day life of a specific career. And a lot of times we also try to bring in guest speakers to come to the schools, and of course creating events like our Kick Off Your Career event to kind of get them connected in a common ground. So with it not being on the school, not being at the industry. Yeah. All
right. So let's jump into the event, because that is coming up tomorrow. And I know I had the good fortune of doing that last year. And really one thing that I noticed is, first of all, people come up to my table because I had candy, which if you're listening and you're going, bring candy and then I'll make them come to your table. But when they came, they were all very sincere and they really wanted to know what we did. And it ended up from that. One of the high school seniors came in to watch me do the radio show one day, and really, I got to talk to him a little bit more in depth. So talk about what this event, I know you said a little bit, but talk about what the event is and what kind of the goal of it is.
Right. So this year we're focusing very heavily on a mock interview format for the event. So we kind of base a lot of our programming off of industry feedback, and a lot of our industry representatives really want to see students have more experience speaking to adults, something that feels so simple, but, to a high schooler, it might be a little bit intimidating. Yeah. And so we figured the mock interview route, it gives them another opportunity to kind of get in front of somebody, make a good first impression, and be able to focus a little bit more on that communication piece. And so in doing so, it's a great opportunity, especially if you get in front of somebody that, imagine if you were in high school and you got to speak with someone from Super Talk, where you can go ahead and kind of get a feel for, what the industry looks like, what's the industry standard for interview questions there. And so that's going to be a major part of the event, but we're also going to do a Dress for Success activity.
Okay.
So we're going to have kind of students do a little bit interactive stuff of trying to get a better idea of really what is appropriate for different industries. Yeah. Because each industry has a different standard. If you go into healthcare, of course, you're going to be looking more at like scrubs, different, departments have different styles that they're using. Yeah. But then if you're going in to interview for a job as a welder or electrician, there may be differences.
Yeah, you don't have to wear a three-piece suit.
Yes, and so that's kind of the objective of this, is just kind of making sure that they're prepared and that they're confident going into that next step.
Absolutely, and I think that's important because, like you said, this day and age, I think, and we've talked about this and we may mention it again, kids are they don't really know, and it has started back when we were in school too. They don't really know how to talk to each other as much, especially they can talk to each other maybe a little bit, and they talk in their own weird teen language, but they don't know how necessarily to talk to adults because they never really have to outside of a school setting. They never really have to, and you get to an interview setting and you're talking to somebody who's 40, 50 years your senior, and you're talking in teen slang. Well, they don't really want to hear that.
Right. Yeah. I think that definitely getting them used to that professional communication. And I think it's, it's all about that comfort level. And so the more that you expose them, I know that there's some classes that they will have mock interviews in their classes. And I think the more that you can provide opportunities like that, the more that they get more comfortable with it, where it's not so much of a, they're not leading into those conversations with fear and anxiety. They're leading into it with confidence and preparedness and ready to kind of take that next step and really make a good impression.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, when I did it last year, y'all had so many different very interesting interactive things for the students to come and look at. Now, this is for all the high schools in Jones County, correct?
Yes, in Jones County.
All right, so that's Laurel, West Jones, Northeast, South Jones, and LCS.
Yes, and we're also inviting Unlimited Dreams. So they're going to be attending as well.
Okay, awesome. Now, outside of the, I know you said y'all have the Dress for Success. Y'all are doing the mock interviews, and then also, but students are they have the area where they can walk around and talk to the different businesses. Is there anything else that we're missing there?
So we are actually moving the college and career fair part to this spring. So we're hoping to make that
so this is a little different,
Yeah, so it is a little bit different, and that was more so kind of collaboration with the community of understanding kind of the different programming that we have going on. So Jones College does a really, really great college and career fair on their campus in a few weeks. And so we realized last year, we're like, are we over-programming for a college and career fair? Obviously, it's awesome to be able to have that opportunity to, provide that for students. And so we decided that we were going to move that to the spring, the college and career fair part, and maybe try to get a bigger venue for it. And so we're excited to kind of see that it is a little bit of a newer format, but we're really harping on that interpersonal side of it because, we love the idea of any sort of way that we can get a student in front of an industry professional, if that means changing the format and, accommodating different styles of events. We want to make sure that we're creating those opportunities.
Absolutely. So if somebody's listening and they have a high school senior, are all the high school seniors going to be required to come? How's that going to set up?
So we do field trip forms. We really kind of go by the school policy for a lot of those events, because we're using their students for these events, but, we're using our time and resources to, try to make it where it's beneficial for all parties involved. So not only the industry people, but the school part is essential to, these events being successful. So at West Jones, which is the school that I cover, it wasn't required, but we actually have a pretty large amount of students that had the interest in going. And so each school, we just kind of test the waters a little bit to see what they're feeling for, what works with testing schedules, all that good stuff. But we usually have a pretty good turnout for all these events, just based off of the sole interest alone.
Yeah. All right. So I know you mentioned it, and you've been doing this since it started for 4 years now. And I probably asked you this question before, but you're in these schools every day. You talk to these students pretty much every day. You really get to know them. What is this generation's thoughts on the workforce, on getting out and doing new different things, events like this where they're talking to people? What you feel and what you pick up? What is their thoughts on it, and how do they feel about doing things like this and working? Because a lot of times they get pegged as lazy, but I don't know that that's the case.
I see a lot of potential in a lot of our students. And I say that, of course, I would say that I'm probably a little bit biased because I'm, kind of the one in the corner that's rooting for them as an outside perspective in the school. But I think that we're in a time where there's so much resources available to students to help them succeed. But at the end of the day, they don't know what they don't know, So they may have in their mind that, I think I'm interested in being, this career because someone someday said, you're good at math, maybe you should do this. But in reality, they may be better suited for a different career that they just didn't really think about because they never had that opportunity to either meet with an industry representative. They didn't have the opportunity to learn about their skills. So really, I think that's something that I see as a big area of, growth for our program to be able to kind of help students isolate some of those skills, then work your way down into what careers would fit that.
Yeah.
And so I see, the perspective around, workforce versus college versus, 2-year programs, I think a lot of the students, they just want to see success.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a large conversation happening now of, what is success? And so it's not always just going to be get a 4-year degree, bam, you're successful. Yeah. And so I think just helping them see that light at the end of the tunnel, that, all roads should lead to a career.
Yeah.
And so different pathways, you take different pathways for different reasons. And so I think that there's a lot of potential for our local students.
Absolutely. And the career that you love and can excel at.
Right.
All right, Collyn, as we end here, if a business is listening and maybe they don't have time, obviously, to get involved with this, but if they want to get involved with what y'all are doing, how do they do that?
Yes, contact me. We always are looking for partnerships for, industries and bringing in guest speakers, so they can find my information on the EDA's website, which is jonescounty.com.
There you go. She's Collyn Leggett with the Jones County Career Coaches in the Jones County EDA. Exciting event to really help shape our future with these high school seniors. Thank you for coming in, Collyn.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. When we come back, we're going to do our weekly Tuesday segment with Uncle Marcus on some high school football. Stick around. Good morning, Pine Belt.
This is Good Morning Pine Belt on Super Talk Laurel 99.3.
All right, here we go. Good morning, Pine Belt. We are back. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be. We're live here from the Cannon Motor Studio in beautiful, historic downtown Laurel, Mississippi. Our thanks to Collyn Leggett there with the Jones County Career Coaches. Great asset to our community. Before we bring in our final guest, Uncle Marcus, we will do want to mention that this segment of Good Morning Pine Belt is brought to you by McLaurin Carpets and So-So. From carpet to custom tile showers, really any type of flooring in between, McLaurin Carpets has you covered. Go see them right there off of Highway 28 in So-So or at McLaurinCarpets.com for quality that will long be remembered after pricing is forgotten. Go check them out today. All right, joining us back again as he does every Tuesday in the final segment, Uncle Marcus Jones is back. And Marcus, man, I'll tell you what, we were talking off air and we talked a lot about it on last Tuesday, and I talked a lot about it with Caleb. That was the game that everybody hoped it would be.
Yes, it was.
I mean, that was just about as exciting as it comes. That right there is why people love high school football.
Indeed. The atmosphere, it was electric.
Yeah.
As soon as I walked in, all the tents, everyone's tailgating, it was everything.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the game. I know the first half, West Jones kind of, took a lead a little bit and kind of got out there. But then as the second half went on, South started coming back and getting more into it, and my goodness, that was a barn burner. And talk what you saw at the game from both teams from first half to second half.
Okay, we scored first. Shout out to Caleb Holmes. He scored first. They countered, then missed a field goal. But as the game went on, it looked like they were in charge the entire game.
Yeah,
both physically, they're just I was impressed with them, and I'm happy for them. I'm a diehard Mustang fan, but I'm a Jones County guy.
Yeah.
I was impressed with them. I really was.
Absolutely. And I know we talked a lot about with Caleb that South has been really playing hard and making a run for it the last couple years. But, one thing that we both said that if there was going to be a year where South pulled it out, because I believe it's been 6 or 7 years since they've actually won, it was going to be this year.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take it further. If it's going to be a year for them to beat us, it would be this year. They need to just keep on going.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing them, go wherever the games are hosted this year. They have that kind of talent.
I certainly think so. I'm sitting here looking at their schedule. Next, they have a equipment team who's kind of been if and as, so they should be able to roll off the next couple. A tough team in Long Beach will be probably their next toughest test. Enterprise isn't bad, But man, I really want to talk about that last 5 minutes. I mean, I was watching it there on your feed. It was back and forth. Tootie and them drove down the field and got a score. And then Collyn looked just about he looked like as poised as you could get in the pocket. What was that last 7-8 minutes of the game?
Okay, just like you said, Tootie went down. Chandler caught that pass, great catch.
Yeah. Oh man, great catch.
And I'm like, my head, I'm like, okay, we got this.
Yeah,
we got this. And it was like they were just so poised. They didn't rush. It was just like, we do this every day. What are you talking about? And they just went down. The Jackson brothers, I'm going to say they are amazing. Yeah. By the way, man, the last 5 minutes of that game, and it happened to end it just like the Northeast game. Yeah. Maybe be the same play. Yeah. With the Flowers Jackson connection. Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I was watching it, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, I don't know that I've ever seen a high school team more relaxed, poised, like you said, no rush. I think they got the ball with, about 2 minutes left on the clock, and they got it on like the 18, 20-yard line, and they just walks down the field like it was just another Tuesday.
Yeah. It was shocking. It shocked West Jones. We got to go and redo some things. Tootie's nursing an injury. He wasn't very mobile, so we get him worked out. We get the ball to our receivers. I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, in the long run.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk. We talked a little bit about what South's schedule looks like here but West Jones, they've got a kind of tough schedule. They got North Pike at home, then go to Wayne County, Petal, and George County. So they've got a little bit of a tough slate coming up.
Yes. I look forward to the Petal game.
Yeah, that's going to be. We cover Petal on our station there in Hattiesburg. And they look like a true Marcus Boyles coach team right now. Last year they struggled a little bit, but this year Coach Boyles says he's showing why he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. My goodness. All right, Marcus. As we finish, remind people if they want to watch, which you want to watch the highlights to this game. Where do they go watch the highlights?
Yes, if you want to watch the highlights of the game, go to Legacy GMC of Laurel's Facebook page, and they'll be there. Also on my page, I have pictures of them, and I stream the game every Friday.
There you go. So you can go back and really watch most of the whole thing, if not catch all the highlights there. So. Well, Marcus, we'll talk to you again next week. We'll be talking about that game there with North Pike, I'm sure, a lot, and talk about how the Mustangs did. Thank you for coming in. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, that does it for Good Morning Pine Belt today. Hey, you know what? It's 10 o'clock. That means you can go see Rocky at K-Rocks, get you a chick on a stick. And while you're on the way home, keep it on Super Talk Laurel. Middays with Gerarders up next, but we'll be back. Good Morning Pine Belt from the Cannon Motor Studio tomorrow. Keep your dial on Super Talk Laurel 99.3.